Hello, my name is Nikki Bell. I'm a fundraising trainer and consultant with Kida Consulting in the UK. And this is my session, Lights, Camera, Phone, Action. And I'm here today to talk to you about using smartphone film in your fundraising relationships to increase engagement, have more impact with supporters, and raise more money. This came about for me when I worked for the British Heart Foundation, which is a large national charity in the UK. I was a fundraising manager responsible for voluntary income in the northeast of England, which is a huge area with thousands of people and just me. And I quickly found that video was a great bridge between community and cause, and helped me to be available in situations when it wasn't always physically possible or possible because of timing. Video enabled me to bring parts of the organization and my work into the hands of supporters that weren't always able to see that kind of action all of the time. And of course, smartphones, the technology on that are so fantastic these days. We can record such amazing content and quality of content. And it just made sense for me that we should be doing this more in our fundraising. But actually, the more I came to talk to people about this, the more I realized that people aren't doing this as much already. So that's what I'm here today to share with you, is how to get started with smartphone film, where to use it in your fundraising relationships to have the biggest impact, and just to show you how simple and easy and effective it can be to use smartphone video in your fundraising. So let's get started. And why is video actually important in the first place? Why should we be doing this instead of just taking pictures and sending tweets? Well, by next year, the statistics show that 80% of online shareable content will actually be video. So if we want people to engage with our communications and share that on, then we need to keep up with those consumer trends and we need to use more video. And this type of video actually generates 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. So when you are about to do a tweet or you're about to put a picture out there, if it was a video, that's more likely that people will engage with that and share that on with their networks. So your message and how important the work that you do is getting shared with more people beyond those who follow you and love you already. And actually, people would much rather prefer to learn information through a video. Statistically, people are more likely to read the same amount of text in video subtitles than they would if it was a written leaflet. So this is just what people are engaging with these days, and we need to keep up with those trends so that we can remain connected with them and get our message out in front of the people who can make a difference. And not only are people more likely to watch it and engage with it and share it, but they are 95% more likely to retain the information from a video. So videos are hugely important. And you might be thinking, of course, it's very expensive to do video. You need to brief people in, you need to get buy-in for it. But that's why smartphone video is so fantastic, because we already have these tools in our pockets that can record this content and then we can share it online. So why smartphone video? Well, it's cheaper than hiring professionals, like I've just said there. You already have this equipment available. If you work for a large organization, you may even have a work phone. If you don't, you're probably likely to have a smartphone. So we have this equipment already. It's just about how we can use it to its full potential and where we can use it for its biggest impact, which is what we're going to be looking at today. And it's scalable. So you are on the session now. So thank you for joining me. When you are finished, I'm positive that you are going to be on board with this and you will want to start to create more video. So then you go away and you share these tools with your team. They then create and capture video and you end up building up all of this wonderful content. And it's not just you doing it. And because it's smartphone, everyone is able to bring these skills on board and have an impact with that. And it's reactive, so you can actually capture amazing moments as they happen. So you are fantastic fundraisers. So I'm sure you are speaking with supporters and beneficiaries on a regular basis. And you will have heard some amazing stories and witnessed just some amazing scenes where your charity has a big impact. So if you work for, I always go for this one because it's the easiest one to think of, but if you work for an animal charity that works in rehoming animals, then just that moment where an animal that's been with you for ages is finally rehomed with a loving family, and just how excited that animal is to finally be taken home and loved. Supporters aren't going to be able to see that all of the time unless they come and volunteer where you work. So video is a great way to just bring that wonderful moment that just can't be recreated if you try and plan it in advance. Smartphone video enables you to just whip your phone out of your pocket and capture those amazing moments as they happen. And you are likely to be tech savvy people. So you are joining us today on Facebook Live. So you have Facebook, and you may have LinkedIn and Twitter, and you will notice that the majority of the videos that you see on there, they're not polished and perfect. So if we're using our smartphone and we're not taking it too far, we're keeping it simple, our content will blend in with the rest of the videos that people are seeing and engaging with on those platforms. And they're not going to be thinking, God, how much have they spent on this? It's just something that they are familiar with, and we are engaging with them in a way that they are used to. And it's actually a way of putting supporters first and giving them content that they're comfortable with and that they already enjoy. So smartphone video is fantastic. So smartphone video, you want to know if it works. And yes, here are just two examples of feedback that I've had directly about smartphone video working for engaging with supporters. And you can just see here on the left-hand side, that's me smiling very cheesily in a British Heart Foundation shop. And what I was doing here was I just started at the British Heart Foundation. I'd inherited a corporate partner. They had head offices next to me in Newcastle in the UK, but offices right across the UK. And I wanted to engage with these people and make sure that the rest of that partnership was as successful as possible. And we didn't have the resource for me to travel around everywhere, and it wasn't beneficial for the business to stop their staff from working just to come and talk to me. So I found out from my contact, well, how do you engage and communicate with these people on a regular basis? And they had a staff intranet which supported video. And of course, knowing the statistics that we know already about how much people love to watch video and engage with video, that's what I did. So I went along to a British Heart Foundation charity shop, and I just recorded myself saying how much I'd heard about them and how wonderful they were, how excited I was to work with them over the remaining months, and the impact that they'd had already. So here's what you've raised so far. This money can save life-saving CPR training, and you are wonderful. You're amazing. I can't wait to meet you all. And what I did was, when the partnership was coming to an end, 6 months after this, I made a follow-up video, and it was me in a British Heart Foundation funded lab, again saying direct to camera, we've had all of this wonderful time together. However, our work's not done. You've saved lives today with the CPR training, but we need to save lives tomorrow by funding life-saving research. And I had a researcher saying to camera how important it was that they stayed on board, because then she could carry on doing what she was doing. And it went out to staff vote, and they voted to keep the partnership by 6-1, which is amazing, a 4-year partnership. And that resulted in £40,000 extra for the British Heart Foundation. And on the right-hand side is a direct message from an awesome friend and colleague of mine, who I have just kept anonymous for this because I don't know if the partnership has been announced yet. But they used smartphone video in their corporate pitch, again with a hospice nurse saying to camera how without their support, it will impact on the work that she does, and how much of a difference it would make having them on board. And they won that partnership, and they had a £50,000 immediate donation, which is fantastic. And we're aware of the other charities that were up against this particular winning charity in this corporate partnership pitch, and they used similar tactics. So we can be fairly sure that it was the smartphone element and bringing that nurse into the situation that had that impact. So it does work. And it's very quick to do. It's cheap to do. So, and that's what people are engaging with and want to see. So why not do it? So to get started, I want you to learn from my mistakes. When I started, I did not have either of these pieces of equipment, and it meant that my footage was shaky and you couldn't hear it very well because I didn't have a microphone, and I definitely didn't have this snazzy headset. But the tripod, it's just great for keeping your footage steady, whether you have it fixed on a desk and you're filming yourself doing a thank you. But if you hold the tripod like this as well when you're filming other people, it just increases the the steadiness of that film. I remember when I filmed the CEO of the British Heart Foundation doing some thank yous, and I was very nervous, and I didn't have a tripod, so it was just shaking like this, and I couldn't use a lot of that footage, so that was a shame. And of course I wasn't going to see him again for a while, and if I had the tripod and carried that around in my bag, it would have just meant that I would have recorded quality content from the get-go. And a smartphone mic as well, it increases the chances of people actually being able to hear what you're saying, which is very important. And both of these just add a layer of professionalism to your smartphone video, because of course it's raw and it's organic, and you are capturing it yourself, but you want people to stick around and engage with your video, so they have to be able to enjoy watching that too. And this next piece of equipment, this is an optional piece. This is a smartphone selfie ring light, and it just softens the subject of which you are filming. Here in the northeast of England, we don't get a lot of natural light, and it just means that if I am filming people or myself doing thank yous, it just makes it nicer to view and a lot lighter there. All of these pieces that you can see on this slide, if you were to buy, would cost you like less than £15, like $20. So, and it is worth investing in, and they're all small and portable, so you can keep these in your bag and use them whenever you need to. But I would say out of this, the tripod and the microphone are an absolute definite. And get yourself some editing software. So there are 3 examples on here. There are more, but these are the ones that I've used personally. So for you Apple users, iMovie is a free app for which you can edit smartphone video and other video on your phone and on your laptop. I've moved to Android now. I use WeVideo, and that is a £5 subscription for me per month, but I do have additional features on there. And Filmora, which tends to be the most recommended one, that's £20 to download, but the dashboards on each for editing are very similar. And I am going to show you just a very quick snippet of how simple it is to edit smartphone video later on in this session. So when we are looking to make smartphone video, before you even hit record, you should be asking, should I be filming this? Does this need to be a video? And if you are about to share an update from a fundraising event or a thank you, just ask, would it add more value if this was actually a video? Like, do we want more people to see it? Do we want it to be shared on? And would it have more impact if we were to film it? And would it inspire and delight supporters or someone that's seen it? And would they be moved or feel compelled to give to you if it was an appeal video, perhaps? And, just that example of if you work for an animal charity and you rehome pets, if you could just film that moment where an animal is being rehomed with a loving family and share that with a supporter and say, you made this happen, look how fantastic that is, that would increase their chances of staying with you. And when you ask them for subsequent support, for them giving to you again. And of course, do you have permission? And we're going to look at the data protection implications of smartphone video later on in this session. So if the answers to those questions are yes, then certainly hit record. But before filming, we really need to ask ourselves some additional questions. So what do you actually want to achieve with this video? With videos, it's one video per purpose. So you will never make one video that can do everything. So are you wanting to update people, show the impact, make them feel appreciated, give to a particular cause? Before you film something and just the story that you're going to tell in that video, you really need to work out who's going to see it, and what you want to achieve with that, and where will it be shared. Because again, coming back to that, who will see it and where will it be shared, different platforms have different lengths of how long people will actually engage with videos on those platforms, but also, how long they will actually let you upload. So Instagram, for example, you have 60 seconds. So it might be that you have a 60-second teaser video, which then directs them to your website where they can find out more, perhaps. I saw something somewhere that said the video should be as long as it needs to be to tell your story, which absolutely. But we do need to think about those platforms of where would be best to share that story, because where are your supporters that are going to engage with that? Who's the best person to be in front of camera? So you might be watching this thinking, I will never film myself in a million years. I'm too nervous. But it isn't all about you, which is exactly the lesson of fundraising. It could be that a beneficiary should be in front of the camera saying how much of an impact the organization and therefore the supporter has had on their lives. It could be a researcher or your CEO giving an update, or it could be a supporter just sharing their story about why they're involved with your cause and why people should get involved too. So it's not all about you. Think about the best person who should be in there and doing the asking, and thinking about your existing communications of your charity as a whole. So if you know that you have a big campaign coming up next month, could this video that you're about to capture and share add value to that subsequent comms, which is going to come out the following month, and add weight to it? So if you know that a direct mail is landing about your children's hospice, perhaps, and you are at an event for the children's hospice, could you just capture something around that, and then all of the messages can lend together? So it does make sense to get your team together and create a strategy of stories that you are going to share over time that can share the complete story of your organization and have the impact that you want to have overall. So I'm about to share with you now some examples of smartphone video that I have seen that I've thought is wonderful. Unfortunately, we don't have the time or technology to play these live for you today, but if you go to Charity Nikki after this session, I will tweet the links to these videos because they're all ones that I've found on social media, and I'll be happy to share those with you afterwards. And this first example is from a fundraiser who's a trustee in Uganda, and he read my article about smartphone video and was inspired to capture loads of content while he was out there. And this video still that we can see here is the moment that a child who was unable to walk at one point finally took their first steps. And in the tweet that Andy shared, he was saying, you know, you, the supporters, have helped this child to walk. Like, how amazing is this? How amazing are you? And I thought this was wonderful because, especially with overseas charities, if you're working for an organization and the work that you do is in a different country, it can be hard to show people that impact. And yes, we do updates and images, but there's just something about a film that makes people feel part of it. And it's just this wonderful way to bring that impact into their homes. So that's one example from Andy. This next example is from a fundraiser, Emma, in Scotland, who, if you follow her on LinkedIn, every post and update that she shares on there is an image or a video. And this is a thank you video for people who are involved in their DView appeal. And one of the fantastic things that Emma does is she films her thank yous and her updates from the building site. They're building a new neurological centre, and she's raised almost £4 million in a very short amount of time. And she's just constantly sharing stuff on social media about where they're at with it and the difference that it's made. And Emma actually said that because of these videos, and she was tagging people in it, she actually had businesses coming to her wanting to help because they saw the energy around it and they wanted to be involved in that too. So there's a little bit of social proofing in there, which we know as fundraisers definitely works. And this is an example from the British Red Cross. It's an appeal video. You can see this is a celebrity, Ben Fogle. He is in a British Red Cross shop. So he's obviously been taking tips from me, I'm sure. And he's just saying direct to camera what's going on and why the charity needs their help. And he obviously has a huge following on social media. So it really got their message out there and in front of people. One of the great things about Ben's video, obviously, it has the surroundings. He's in a British Red Cross shop and it's subtitled, which is great because people can watch that, and it includes other audiences, and we're going to look at accessibility a little bit later on as well. The other two videos, we're going to look at placement of your phone and just how you can actually record content to make it more user-friendly. So those are just some examples there, and just a couple more. So this tweet, you may have seen this actually, because this went viral at the end of last year, and it's a tweet from Rebecca Davies, a fundraiser in Toronto, and she is a sponsor of refugee families. And she'd been sharing her journey on social media right up to the point of this new family joining her in Canada. And she just filmed this moment of these two kids who'd never seen snow before. And honestly, in the 43 seconds that you watch it, there's no talking in it. It's just two kids being kids and jumping around, and just this wonderful joy of feeling free and safe and just mesmerized. And you can see there, so over 30,500 retweets, 150,000 likes on it. And Rebecca actually shared with me that this particular tweet got over 9 million impressions on Twitter, and the Canadian president was sharing it, and it's just fantastic. And that's just something that she filmed on her smartphone and just uploaded that because she knew that this is something that people wanted to see, and she understood that it was important, and she used those tools available to share it with her networks. And this is just a still of the video that I mentioned earlier of me in the British Heart Foundation lab saying direct to camera, extend this partnership. We can't save lives without your help. So those are just some examples of where people are already using smartphone video in their fundraising relationships. Fundraising is great for engagement. Some other examples could be sending one out before a direct mail lands to people who are with you already, who are going to receive that direct mail, just saying how fantastic they are and how wonderful they are as human beings, because they are changing lives and they are helping to support people or things or areas that you couldn't do without their help. Something that Barnardo's Island are doing is trialing Facebook adverts before they go and canvass a particular area. So a location will receive just a Facebook advert saying, this is what Barnardo's Island do. The supporters are fantastic. Loads of supporters in your area are already on board, and we want to thank them. And then the next day, a canvasser will knock on the door and ask for help. And that's just a fantastic way to use it, because you've got the social proofing there, and you've got the other behavioral economics on making people feel wonderful and then asking for a gift. And if they use video instead of just images and text on that, then it's more likely that people will stick around to watch it and actually feel that emotion and what it is that that charity wants them to do. So we know how to get started and where to use it. And again, I just want to help you avoid some of my mistakes by just sharing with you just some simple techniques to make your video look fantastic. So one of the things, very important things, is filming in landscape. So you would have remembered from Andy and Emma's videos, the black bars either side of that post. If their phone was in landscape, so there's a picture here, but I'll just show you here as well. That's landscape, portrait, landscape. It gets rid of those black bars on the either side of your film, and it makes it just nicer to watch. And it opens up as well just the extra background of what you can see. So if you are filming something somewhere in a wonderful environment, let people see the whole thing, bring them into the picture. Think about lighting. So make sure that who you are filming or whatever it is that you're filming has the light coming at them this way. So illuminate your subject. So don't have them standing in front of a window so that the light is behind them, because it makes it dark and you can't see them very well. Use your mic. So I said before, learn from my mistakes. Some of my earlier videos, you could barely hear what I was saying. And of course, if I'm asking people to get involved with something, they need to be able to hear that ask. And personalize your videos as well. So if you are doing a generic thank you, you can top and tail that with a separate video of just you saying, Amanda, I've heard all of this fantastic work that you've been doing. You're an amazing supporter. And then you can edit it together, perhaps with other footage that you have of other people saying thank you, or footage of the event that you have filmed. Editing videos is actually very simple. And I'm just going to give you a quick demo now of how simple it is to edit your online smartphone video. So this is WeVideo, and I mentioned before about the platforms being the same. So if I was going to upload a video, you can see this little green cloud with the arrow. This is where I would upload my files for which I would edit from. But on this example, because it takes a while to do, I do have some existing videos that I am just going to edit for you today. So I'm going to use this Springsteen video because I'm a big Springsteen fan, and why not? So I would drag and drop it to video 1 here because that's your base video. So anything you add on top of that, it like subtitles are going to overlay it. So you can look at your preview by pressing this play button, or you can use the blue toggle to move backwards and forwards throughout your video. So you can see I've got those horrible bits around the video that I want to remove. So I will just remove my toggle, choose a section of which I want the video to start. And it's as simple as clicking the little scissors there that you can see. So click that, click the section you want to delete, and then click the bin. And then that gets rid of the content that you don't want to see. It's important though to move your video back to the beginning so that when you press play, it will start from the beginning. And here you can just see a little button with an A. This is where you have your library of headings and credits and even subtitles. So we're going to look at a heading for your video. There's different types here. And again, it just adds that professionalism. So you drag and drop it down. And to edit what the text says, you double click. And it's just as simple as typing in here. So Bruce Springsteen, live in New Orleans. And then click save. There we go, click and save. So if we play that back, you'll just see how fantastic that looks compared to just having Bruce there, so people know who it is and what the video is about. And it's literally as simple as that. And this text library actually has some autofills there for subtitles as well. And it's just as simple as dragging and dropping that down there. And then again, you can just double click on that if you wanted to edit the text. And once you're done with your video, you finish it and you upload it to your library. So it's all about keeping it simple. If we make our smartphone videos too difficult to create or edit or share, it becomes an extra job for you. And your fundraisers, you're busy enough as it is. I don't want to make your job any harder. So keep it simple. Don't go over the top with your hardware or your editing, and then just share that. So there was once I filmed a corporate partner in a shop, just saying why they were there for the shop takeover. And between leaving them and getting back to my car, I'd edited that on my smartphone and uploaded it to social media. So just keep it simple and it doesn't become an extra job for you to do. So some important factors. Get and record permission for filming people. So let them know in advance if it's an event that you're going to be capturing film there, put up posters and get the image release forms as well. There's some that you can just download from the internet and adapt for your needs, or you can create one, but make sure that you get permission for doing so and that phones are password protected. You delete the content once you have done with it what you have said that you were going to do with it, and only do with it what you have said that you were going to do with it. So accessibility, obviously there's a whole audience out there who we need to be engaging with too. So people who are visually or hearing impaired. So add subtitles and audio descriptions. Subtitles are important anyway because most people actually watch videos without sound. So if we're not putting subtitles on there, they don't know what the video is about. So subtitles and audio descriptions, very important. Again, what I mentioned before about one video per purpose, and there is still a place for professional video. So if you are going to be doing huge campaigns or adverts or something for your website, if it would have more of a chance of converting people if this was a professional video with support of people that can help you with the storytelling and that can help develop the whole strategy and help embed that into that, then definitely invest in professional video. And to keep that momentum going, so I'm sure after this you're all excited and you're already thinking about where you can film some smartphone videos. Like I've said before, just keep it simple. Don't create extra work for yourself because it'll just be easier to not do it. Share and celebrate successes. So the people that you're filming, whether it's people that work for you or supporters, when you do something fantastic with that video, like gain another supporter or someone comes on board as a volunteer, feed that back to them and let them know that impact that they've had, because it means they'll be more likely to get involved with that in future. But not only that, give you content organically and without you needing to ask on that too. And create a smartphone video library. So when you are places and you don't necessarily need that content now, but you think that it might be beneficial in future, just record it and save it. And just keep that library there. So I had tons of 5-second videos of British Heart Foundation staff members saying thank you to camera, so that when a supporter did something fantastic, it wasn't just me again saying thank you to them. It was all of these people within the organization who they felt knew about them too. So you can save that and make it a habit. The more you pick up your phone and the more you do this, the more you will just find it happening naturally. You will spot more opportunities and you will have fantastic success with your supporters and your fundraising engagement, as we saw earlier on in the session. So thank you so much for joining me for this very quick overview of smartphone video in fundraising relationships. Please come and find me on Twitter at CharityNikki, or on my website, charitynikki.com, where there are some additional resources for smartphone video fundraising and engagement. And I would be happy to talk to you about it at other events. And if you are at IFC in Holland in October, I will be there. So please get in touch and I'd be happy to have a cup of tea with you and talk more about smartphone video. So please complete the short session evaluation form. The link to that is in the video description. And thank you for joining me today.